Good afternoon, this is Amson Siludo and I will be discussing some informations about the letter requesting appointments and the letter of response. So what is a letter requesting appointments? As stated here, a letter requesting appointments is a formal document written to an individual or a group of individuals requesting a meeting. The letter is written in a formal tone and sent to each individual's address. For the letter to be termed as a standard, it should have the name, address, and signature of the person writing it. So it means that a letter requesting appointments is a formal letter that people tend to write, and it is something that we write to ask a person or a group of people to meet. And we often write a letter requesting appointment to make an appointment, maybe with the doctor or even for business meeting. So in short, it used to arrange meetings. So how to write a letter requesting appointments? A letter requesting appointments can be written in different formats according to the number of people targeted. And on the next slides are some of the subdivisions of how this letter can be written. First is the sender's information. It is a crucial detail that should never be left out while writing a meeting appointment request letter. So it should include the sender's name, address, and contact details because this information helps the person who receives the letter to identify the person who is requesting a meeting. Next, the date of request. The date of request is essential when writing an appointment request letter as it helps to show when the letter was written. So this detail is vital. It is also vital for effective records management and tracking of documents for an individual. And it is written after writing the personal address. Next, the reason for the meeting. The reason should be added when writing an appointment request letter as it shows the letter's purpose. So the reason of the meeting should also be added because there are low chances for the person being invited for the appointment to turn up without this detail. Next, suggested date and time for the meeting. These are essential when writing an appointment request letter as it helps the person to whom the letter is sent to set the date and time aside from their schedule for the appointment. So, date and time are essential as it helps in reducing inconveniences for the other party. And with this information, both parties will set a reminder for that suggested time and date. Next, the place. The place or location where the meeting is scheduled to happen should be indicated in the appointment request letter. So, this is an important detail as it helps in reducing inconveniences that might be caused by the lack of definite meeting location, since the different parties are in different areas. Next is the length of meeting. The details regarding the length of the meeting should be indicated on the appointment request letter to show the expected time the meeting is planned to take. So it is an important details as it helps the personal planning of the individual invited and they can set up other events after the meeting. Next is the client's benefits. These details should be brief, professional to avoid the letter being too lengthy. These details should be indicated as it helps create interest in the client to help them accept the invitation to the meeting. Next, on arrival notice. On arrival notice is an essential aspect of an appointment request letter, as it is a confidential document meant for one person. So this detail helps keep the copy safe, and only the targeted person is allowed to read the contents of the letter. Next is the follow-up request. For example, we will follow up in a week to give you more details of the concerns that you have raised and possibly set up another meeting to finalize the deal. So, this detail is also important as they help build the bond and trust between the two parties for their future growth. And lastly, the signature. Closing the meeting appointment request letter with the signature is essential as it shows the writer's professionalism. So, this detail also helps in the personalization of the document, and it allows the persons to whom the letter is being sent to accept the invitation. So this is the example of the letter requesting appointment, and I'll read it for you. Dear Mr. Reed, if your schedule permits, I would like to schedule a meeting appointment with you at your earliest convenience. I am interested in discussing my progress at this company as well as some other relevant and urgent issues. Would this Monday at 3 p.m. work for you? If not, please let me know when would suit your schedule best. I very much appreciate you taking the time. Sincerely, Amazon Sidudo. Now let's go to the letter of response. So what is a letter of response? As stated here, a letter of response is an answer to an original letter asking a question or looking for information. These are especially common business communications. To craft a perfect response letter, first review the original letter carefully and determine what the writer was asking you. Then find out any additional information you need to answer the request. Write a polite, clear letter addressing every concern or question from the original letter. So how to write a letter of response? So on the next slides are some informations to be remembered in writing a letter of response. First, determine what original letter was asking. A response letter should address what the original letter wanted to know. So you must read the original letter carefully and find out what the sender needs, then figuring out how you can provide the informations that needed. Next, address the letter to the person who requested the information. Always open with a polite salutation like dear, followed by the person's name. So you must greet the person directly rather than using a generic opening like to whom it may concern, which is very impersonal. Just greet him by his name because it is more personal and it shows that your care went into writing this letter. Next, state that you're responding to the original letter. Within your first sentence, let the reader know that you're responding to their letter. So this tells the reader that their letter was received and also processed. Also, it let them know the purpose of your letter. Next, answer the person's inquiry as directly as you can. After the opening, get to the main point of the letter. So you must address each questions or concerns from the person's original letter. as completely as you can, and make sure that you have hit every point so that the person is satisfied with your answers. Next, acknowledge clearly if you can't fulfill the person's request. Sometimes you can't fulfill a person's request. Be direct about this. Don't use a long-winded response trying to soften the blow. So, always remember that your recipient will appreciate a clear and direct response to their question. Also, remember to always be polite and apologize while you're doing this so your recipient doesn't get offended. Next, thank the person for writing. Whether you were able to answer the person's request or not, always be courteous and thank the person for their letter. So this just shows that you appreciate their attention and maintain a positive relationship with the writer. Next, sign the letter with your name and title. Wrap the letter up with a formal closing like sincerely, followed by your name. If you're working for a business, write your professional title underneath your name. So this just shows that you are sincere. You are sincere in writing a letter of response to their inquiry. Then lastly, review the letter to make sure you have answered the person's question. Your recipient will be frustrated if they receive a response that doesn't answer their questions. So this just means that failing to satisfy the persons could leave could leave them unhappy or create more work for you because you'll have to respond to another inquiry later on. So always remember to keep the recipient satisfied by answering the request as completely as you can. So here are the example of the letter of response, and I'll read it for you. Dear Mr. Salcedo, thank you for contacting us regarding the Octa company situation. You must explain the situation here. We regret to inform you that at this time we must decline this request. State the reason for declining the request. Thank you so much for taking interest in this matter. Please accept our sincere apologies. Sincerely, I'm Sansiluda. So that was the end of my discussion. Hope you understood it and thank you for listening.